everyone, welcome back to my channel. I am doing a product review for you today. As you can see, the little top here is sticking up. The product I'm going to review is the MAC Moisture Foundation. It's the mineralized collection. So that's what the packaging looks like. As you can tell, I'm about halfway down the bottle. Like I finished halfway. I finished half the bottle so far. This shade is in NW30. But I'm gonna talk to you a little bit about it and my experience with it. I'm wearing the foundation today, which I don't know if you can tell. You might not be able to. You might be able to. I really don't know because I try to hide it with a little bronzer, but this shade is a little too dark for my liking. First of all, what I didn't know and what I learned is that the mineralized liquid foundations in MAC are a little bit darker than your average foundation at MAC, your average liquid foundation at MAC. So usually with every other foundation there, I'm about, I want to say like, I would say an NC or NW 30 to 35. That's my foundation color usually. It'll fluctuate from 30 to 35 depending if I'm darker from the summer or, you know, if I'm lighter in the winter. But those are the two that I go up and down with. And so I picked this one up in NW30 and NW30. And I figured, okay, it'll be the perfect match for me. When I started using it, I noticed that it was really, really pink. Now, the NW line at MAC is more of a pinky undertone. The NC color wheel at MAC is more of a yellow undertone, and I prefer more of a yellow undertone. But when I picked this up in NW, I didn't think it was that big of a difference in the pink that comes out in the undertone, but it really is. So I'm not really like thrilled with the color that I had. I'm swatching a little spot for you guys just so that you can see. So that is NW30. Now, you can't tell, but it's actually a lot pinker off camera. You can't see it because the camera is not really providing you the proper pigmentation on it. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's pigmented and it's very moisture because it is a moisture foundation, but it's so pink that you guys can't tell on camera. But in person, it is so pink that it is hard for me to wear it. And I've been trying to wear this every single day to get it out of my collection. I don't want to waste it because MAC foundations are just as expensive as any other foundation you were to pick up. They're not as expensive as some other higher end brands, but they still are pricier. So I want to use it up and I want to back to MAC the container. So, you know, to start off with, the color is not really my favorite. It doesn't really match. This NW30 is not the same NW30 in another MAC foundation. And I was told by the MAC representative at the counter that the mineralized formula, which is this formula here, tends to come off a bit darker because of the minerals in the minerals in the actual product. So this type of foundation, if you're normally like an NW20 or 25, it's going to look a lot darker on you than if you were to go a shade lighter. So I blended it out a little bit just so that you guys can see the type of finish it gives you. It's very, very hydrating. Can you see the glare off the light? See how this hand doesn't really glare, but this one does? That's because that's how moisturizing this foundation is. If you are an oily combination skin, you might not like this foundation. You probably won't like this foundation. I'm oily to combination skin, and it's just not something I can use. I'm using it because I want to get it out of my collection, but it wouldn't be a foundation that I would gravitate towards in the wintertime. Yes, granted, I do get a little bit drier in the winter, so for me to get this used up, the winter time is pretty much the perfect time for me to get it used up because the summer I'm an oily mess. But I am still a little bit oily in the winter. Just a little bit more centralized in the T zone. But because this is so super hydrating, I really don't think that oily girls will enjoy this unless you really like an over the top glow. But I'm going to tell you right now, you guys, that this is like an over the top glow when you first apply it. As the day goes on, it turns into an oil pool. So, like, yes, my hand looks beautiful and glowy now, but as the day goes on, your face will still produce those oils and it'll pretty much eat up the foundation that's sitting on your face. So you'll basically be left with a whole bunch of oil on your T-zone if you're very oily or if you're central oily in your T. But I have to say this is probably a foundation best for very dried skin types. It does provide a really nice layer of moisture, especially for the winter time. It's not greasy. Like, I don't find it greasy. It's just because my skin has a little bit of oils in the T-zone, it mixes with the oil and it kind of comes off as greasy. So I would suggest if you guys are oily combination, I would maybe stay away from this just because of that particular reason. If you are super dry, you don't get oil production in your face, you're very dry, you're very patchy, you have dead skin galore that, you've exfoliated, but it just keeps coming. This is a good one for you. For me personally, I only enjoy this foundation maybe for the first hour or two of wearing it, and then after that, I'm just so done wearing it because it is super hydrating. But it's super hydrating to the point where when my face oils start to come out, even when I do wear primer, by the way, it tends to those oils tend to eat away at the foundation, and then I don't have very much foundation left around my nose and like inner cheek portion area and like the center of my forehead and my chin dimple here. So, I mean, it's kind of like a thumbs up and a thumbs down because certain people would be able to enjoy this no problem, and other people, depending on your skin type, just might not really find this really helpful. So, my verdict for this is that personally for me, it's not a great foundation. However, I would suggest if you are very dry skin or even just dry skin in general, on your face, you can definitely try this out. It could work for you. You could benefit from it. For me personally, I couldn't. It was just too hydrating for me. My natural oils would eat away at the foundation throughout the day. It would kind of fade off a little bit throughout the day because of that. And it wasn't worth it for me. It didn't make me look flawless on a longer scale. So for me personally, I would have to, thumbs it down. But like I said, you guys, it depends on your skin type. Different foundations work for different skin types, and I tell that to a lot of my friends and family who ask about, I want to use a foundation and, what should I use and blah, blah, blah. And it really depends on your skin type. This particularly for me didn't work because of my skin type. You could have a different skin type and it could work perfect for you. You could always go into MAC if you don't want to invest in the bottle. You could always go into MAC and ask them for a sample size. They are pretty good. Just like Sephora, they give you sample sizes of certain products that you might want to try before you invest in the full size. So if you really want to try it, you don't want to like fork over the money right away, pop into your Mac store, just say, you know, I really want to try this. I don't want to invest yet. I want to make sure that it works for my skin. Can I have a little sample size? And they will actually give it to you. Most Mac stores are good like that. I know my Mac store is amazing for that because I really am well known in the Mac store near my house. So they know me very well and they're very generous when they, you know, they're good with sample sizes. So, yeah, that was my review. Wasn't too thrilled. I know there's gonna be hits and misses for different types of beauty products for me personally, depending on my skin type, depending what I prefer. For me personally, I'm not a fan. I'm trying to really use this up because I really want to get it out of my collection. I dread most of the time when I put this on because I don't enjoy it. And I think for beauty, you really need to enjoy the makeup that you're using and that you're playing with. I don't enjoy this 90% of the time because it's not my favorite. So I think I'm like, I want to say halfway, maybe a little more than halfway through, and I'm hoping that by the time spring comes, I will be done this foundation and it be gone, because I will not repurchase this. This will not be a repurchase. It's a full size. The full size is 1 fluid ounce, which is usually what you get for a foundation. It's one full size and it's a fluid ounce, and I'm just not really, you know, I want to get it out before it goes bad, and I want to use the packaging for my back to Mac. So that's it, guys. That was my review. I know it was a quick video, but you know, usually reviews are quite quick, and I kind of like that for you guys because, you know, other videos of mine are quite long. Leave me a comment down below if you guys have tried this foundation and what you thought of it. I would love to hear your thoughts because, you know, what might not work for me, it might work for someone else. So let me know. Leave the comments down below. Keep in mind, I've tried applying this with every single type of tool you can think of. A beauty blender, a brush, a stippling brush, my fingers, you know, across the board, I've tried it all. But it's not the application that is the problem, it's the actual product. It's just way too hydrating for me. And as much as I love hydration, don't get me wrong, my skin is already combination oily to begin with, and when you're adding on a really, really extremely dewy finish foundation, you just feel like a complete oil slick by the end of the day. So, yeah. So yeah, let me know down below if you've tried this product. I would love to hear your thoughts. And until next time, thank you all for watching, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye, everyone. Mwah.